I am struggling to maintain the government, not to overthrow it. I am struggling especially to prevent others from overthrowing it.
April 14th, 1861. Fort Sumter, surrounded by Confederate batteries, surrenders. Lincoln's response is immediate. The next day, he called for 75,000 volunteers for military service. A newfound unity of purpose swept across the North. Recruitment stations were flooded with men eager to put down the rebellion. But things were different in the border states. The governors of Kentucky and Missouri refused to contribute troops. And as more states sided with the South, Lincoln's problems only increased. The president chose a Virginian to lead Union forces, but was turned down when Virginia seceded. In time, the man would become the South's most famous general, Robert E. Lee. With Virginia in rebel hands, the Confederacy was now at Lincoln's doorstep. Lincoln waited anxiously for the arrival of additional troops from the North.
Why don't they come?
But getting to Washington meant crossing Baltimore, a Maryland city rife with secessionists. On April 19th, a Baltimore mob attacked a Massachusetts regiment, killing 4 soldiers. Baltimore city fathers implored Lincoln to avoid further bloodshed by finding an alternate route, but the president was unbending.
Tell your people that if they will not attack us, we will not attack them. But if they do attack us, we will return it, and severely.
In an effort to safeguard troops along the route, Lincoln suspended in Maryland the constitutional protection of habeas corpus, which guarantees every defendant the right to a speedy trial by his peers. A few weeks later, a Maryland man accused of blowing up bridges carrying Union forces was arrested by the military. Supreme Court Chief Justice Roger Taney, himself a Marylander, ordered the man brought before a civilian court, or else released. Taney was furious. The president had no constitutional right to deprive citizens of their civil liberties.
I am an old man, a very old man, but perhaps I was preserved for this occasion.
But Lincoln chose to temporarily suspend this one liberty to save the Union.
Often a limb must be amputated to save a life, but a life is never wisely given to save a limb.
Lincoln and Taney would lock horns again over the president's naval blockade of the South. But by the time that case finally reached the Supreme Court, Taney was in the minority, thanks to 3 new Lincoln appointees. Their war of words raged on in the courtroom, even as their countrymen, clad in blue and gray, clashed on the battlefield.